Good afternoon, Chicago. Good afternoon, and welcome to a new edition of Social Security on CAN TV, Channel 21. Today, in the studio is with me, my guest, John Marshall, and of course, my name is Rosie Roman. I am one of the claims specialists here in the Chicago metropolitan area. I work in the Social Security office in the north side on Lawrence Avenue. And today we are going to be talking about first the Social Security card and the Social Security number, because tax season is around the corner, and also about some of the changes for 2020 and what you can do using our website socialsecurity.gov. So, John, good afternoon. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm John Marshall. I'm the Chicago Metropolitan and Northern Indiana Area Working Centers Coordinator, and I'm also the SOAR Homelessness Coordinator for the same area. We have 23 offices in the Chicago metropolitan area in Northern Indiana, and I have at least one or two technical experts that I coordinate, and I'm the point person for the agency to try to help people with disabilities to work and help organizations to try to help people with disabilities to work, or help organizations take our applications for homeless people so they could get benefits and get off the street.
Very, very interesting. As I mentioned before, this is a call-in program. So if you have any question in regards to Social Security matters, you can contact us right now. The phone number here in the studio is area 312-738-1060. One more time, the phone number here in the studio is 312-738-1060. The phone number will appear for the remaining of the program at the bottom of your screen. So if you have any question or concern, you can call us and ask us in the air. So yeah,
Yes.
To start with the topics, tell me about those famous 9 digits of the Social Security numbers and why are so important for everybody here.
Well, ultimately, you get the Social Security number in order to use it to monitor how much you're earning and how much FICA taxes and federal income taxes that you're paying. For our purposes, the FICA taxes are the taxes that fund Social Security and fund your capacity to be able to receive either Social Security disability insurance benefits or retirement benefits once you get to the point of retirement.
Yeah, those are the ones that sometimes in the check stubs or in the W-2 appears under Social Security taxes or
That's right.
FICA or FICA taxes.
That's right. But it's mainly used for employment purposes. Now, I understand that sometimes it's used for credit purposes, and sometimes it's used for purposes of banking. But it was primarily designed for strictly employment purposes, which is why you should never really carry around your card. It's not a form of identification. Ultimately, the Social Security card is your number. So if you remember your number, your 9-digit Social Security number, that's essentially as good as having your card, because the card is not a form of identification anyway.
Okay, that's fair. And if it's so important, so what if I have employment interview? So just take the card, show it to the at the interview, and then put it back in the safe.
That's right.
In the house.
Yeah.
Okay, and not to carry around.
Right. You should really never carry it around except for those purposes of getting employment, because that's something that employers normally want to see when they're preparing themselves to hire you, because they have to report your wages to Social Security as well, and report your wages to the IRS. So that is one of the only times that you really should take your Social Security card out of your house. Not only for your protections, but so that you won't lose it.
Okay. And what if I cannot find my car, or I lost or it was stolen and I need a new Social Security card. How can I get one?
Well, there's several ways you could actually apply for a new Social Security card. One of them is that now you can apply for your Social Security card online, a replacement card, or file for your replacement Social Security card. And that is if you're a U.S. citizen, 18 years of older, or with a U.S. mailing address, or if you're requesting a name change or any other change to your card, you can have a driver's license, a state-issued identification card from any of the states. That way, you can be able to file an online application. You also can file through the mail or in person in the office, but you have to bring a form of identification with you in order to get the replacement card. Now, keep in mind, your birth certificate is not a form of identification. Your birth certificate is literally your proof of birth. Now, when you file your Social Security card initially, we do need to know the information about your place of birth and your proof of birth. But more often than not, when you're outside of being a child, then you would need some form of identification in order to file for, in order to get your initial card. But after you get your initial card, you do not need your birth certificate anymore. You need some form of identification in order to get the card.
Yes, and the birth certificate, it will be used once a person has a Social Security number, only if we have to make any correction to the record. The correction could be to correct the date of birth or place of birth or some misspelling in the name, in the legal name. How about, because this program is transmitted here in Chicago and Illinois, how about the Medicaid cards?
Well, we used to be able to use a Medicaid card as a form of identification, but because of the changes that they've made with the Medicaid card, without having a beginning and an end date, we can no longer use that as a form of identification. Some of the things that we can use as a form of identifications are U.S. driver's license, U.S. state-issued non-driver's ID cards, passports, military ID cards, certified copy of your medical records from a clinic, a doctor, a hospital, or a health insurance card, a school ID card, or other school records that, and like for babies, we may use the WIC booklet. But what we essentially need in terms of your form of identification is something that literally identifies you, either your name, your date of birth, the beginning and an end date, showing ultimately the validation of the card itself.
Okay, so
Of the document itself.
yeah, the issuance and the expiration date of
expiration
the
date.
document.
That's right.
Okay, that's very good. And of course, this service is free. Social Security Administration, we don't charge for a replacement Social Security card. And how many cards can a person receive per year?
A person can receive 3 Social Security cards, replacement Social Security cards per year, and that's the limit for each year. In total, in your lifetime, you can only receive 10. So that's why that's another reason why it's really critically important that you very rarely, only for job interviews and things like that, to take that card outside of your home and outside of a safe place. Make sure you keep it in a safe place where you know where it is and nobody else really has access to it, because it is your number and it is something that personally identifies you, and someone can essentially use that number if it was taken and put into the wrong hands and basically assume your identity and ultimately get jobs on your number, get credit cards on your number. So it's really, really critical for you to protect that Social Security card and hardly ever take it out, because it is essentially how you're going to be identified in a lot of circles.
Thank you, John. We also want to in addition to all this about social security cards, just remember, if you are in the position, or if you know someone who is an immigrant and have become a U.S. citizen, don't forget to take either the passport or the naturalization certificate to your local office and update your citizenship information. Keep in mind that we only will accept the original documents. We do not accept certified copies or notarized copies or just a copy. We always need to see the original document. It could be the original, as John mentioned, state ID, driver license, school records, shuttle records, certified medical records, the passport, any immigration document, but we always have to see the original document. Okay, and I want to remind you that, and I'm going to show you on the screen, that you can easily request your replacement social security card going to our website, socialsecurityadministration.gov or www.ssa.gov, and this is our website. So in our website you can go and apply for the social security replacement cards. So it will tell you all that you need to do, and if you are a citizen, United States citizen, 18 years old or older, with a U.S. mailing address, if you're not requesting any name change or any other change, including the address, and if you have a driver license or a state ID identification card for any of the most of the states here in the United, you can request that online, and you will avoid waiting long waiting times and at the local offices. Also, if you for some reason you cannot request this online, you can always print the application and take it to your local offices. Let me inform you that Social Security card is one of our biggest workloads in the local offices, and the waiting time just to process a replacement Social Security card are very, very long. That is another very good reason of why keep your Social Security card safe.
Now, once you file for your Social Security card, so what we're saying is, if you go to the local office, ultimately, you could be waiting there a long time in order to actually file for the card. But once you actually file for the card, it should take about 10 to 15 days for you to actually get the card in the mail. We do not produce the card, there in the office for you. Many, many, many years ago, back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, Social Security offices produced Social Security cards in the office. That is no longer the case. You have to get them in the mail once you apply. But ultimately, if you apply online, or if you apply, through the mail, or you apply in the office, once we get the application, it should take about 10 to 15 days for you to receive that card.
Exactly, and please make sure that you put your name on your mailbox, because that is another. Sometimes the mailmen, they don't deliver the card if they consider that the person doesn't live in that particular address. So it's very important to put your name on the mailbox. Now, if you want to keep your privacy after you receive the card, you may remove your name if that is what you want, but please don't forget to put the name, especially in cases if it's a newborn baby, someone that has never received any mail in that household. Please put the baby's name on the mailbox. And just remember that probably 30 years ago, there is something called enumeration at birth, which means that now the parents of the newborn baby, they don't have to go to the local offices to file or apply for a baby's Social Security number, but all that process is going to be taken in effect at the hospital at the time that the social worker goes to get all the information for the birth certificate. It will be the baby will be assign a social security number, and it will take sometimes it's like between 6 to 8 weeks for you to receive the social security card for your baby in the mail. So, but please don't forget to put the baby's name on the mailbox.
Yeah, I mean, now what we're talking about is really important. I mean, ultimately, what you're protecting is other people from being able to have access to your Social Security number and use your Social Security number. So when you file for your a Social Security card, make sure you diligently watch your mailbox to make sure that you receive it. If you don't receive it within 15 days, you need to contact us so that we can try to figure out what exactly happened. But what we're trying to do as much as possible is protect you and your number from being used by other people.
Yeah, and in the event that unfortunately your social security number or your identity is stolen, just keep in mind that there are 5 steps that can be used to try to protect you a little bit. The number 1 step is to please place a fraud alert on your credit file by contacting one of the 3 credit bureaus. The credit bureaus are Equifax, TransUnion, or Experian. The second step is to review your credit report. So please ask for one of those, and you will start looking if there is any company that you have never contacted, or accounts that you didn't open, or any debts on your account that you cannot explain. Close any accounts that you know or believe that have been tampered with your or opened fraudulently. Have a report with your local police, or file a police report or in the community where the identity theft took place, and file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission online by calling them at 1-877-438-4338. Because to have the identity stolen is a nightmare. It is a nightmare. You lost your identity in a few seconds, but try to protect it again. To clean your record is very, very, very difficult, and it will take some time.
Now, keep in mind all this information about how, if you feel that someone might have committed fraud or was using your Social Security card wrongly and or taking your identity, you can go to our website and report that, all the things that that Rosia was talking about, and deal with those issues. And then you have to also contact your local law enforcement. Also on our website, and lately we've been getting a lot of information from people that have gotten phone calls from people alleging that they were from Social Security and telling people that they were, that they were at risk for having their Social Security numbers suspended. Social Security never suspends Social Security numbers, and so whenever you hear something like that, and you're getting a phone call from us as opposed to a letter, then you pretty much can be sure that it is not us, and it's somebody that's trying to get your identifying information so that they can ultimately either get both your card and get information and be able to get credit or assume your identity in some way. So whenever you get a phone call and is not coming in subsequence to a letter that we might have sent you, then more than likely is not from Social Security.
Yes, keep in mind that our Social Security Administration main way of communication with you is by mail. Pretty much every time there is a change on the record, a letter will be generated and you will receive it in your home. Unless you have any, in most cases, pending application with Social Security, we are not going to call you. Right. So you will be contacted either by mail or email, if of course you have provided your email to us, but mainly by mail. So if you don't receive any letter, So pretty much it won't be a reason why we are going to be calling you. And of course, will never request anything for exchange to any service.
Right. Yeah, keep in mind that, by law, if we were going to do anything in an adverse way to any of your records, either your Social Security number, to your benefits, or anything like that, we have, by law, have to send you a letter to notify you of that and give you time in which to respond, either to have us reconsider the decision or to, have us correct the information that's on the record. We never call you first. We always will give you a notice and tell you what we're going to do. So when if you get a phone call and it says that you're at risk of having your Social Security number suspended, more than likely it's a very bogus call.
Now we're going to show you one more time. Our website is ssa.gov. In our website, you can easily file for benefit. Here you will see information about the changes for 2020, which we are going to be informing you in a few minutes. You can also conduct business with us accessing the online services. You can file for disability, you can file for retirement benefit, you can enroll on Medicare if you are about to turn 65 years old, or at any time, but no earlier than 3 months prior to turn 65 years old. Now, here you can also create My SSA account. My SSA account is very, very convenient. If you want to know about your future, to plan better your future, you can create My SSA account. In that account, you can easily review your earnings record for accuracy. You can estimate your benefit for the future for retirement, and you can play with different dates based on your on what are your plans. When do you want to stop working? How much will you receive at 62? How much will you receive at full retirement? Now, keep in mind that in regards to retirement, the full retirement age is slowly being increased to age 67. So far, up to the everybody who was born up to 1954, the full retirement age is 66 years old. But every year will be increased 2 more months. So if the person was born in 1955, the full retirement age is going to be 66 years and 2 months. For 1956, 66 and 4, and so on until 1960, in which once the person was born in 1960 or later, the full retirement age is 67 years old. So, but for Medicare, if you are about to turn 65 or if you just turned 65, you can go to our website or you can contact one of the offices and file for Medicare.
Yeah. Now, on that My SSA account, you could also request a replacement Medicare card, and you could get a benefit statement and a benefit estimate of your Social Security and sent to you. We no longer send that estimate. We used to send that estimate every year to everybody that was paying into the Social Security system, but we do not do that anymore. So you can get that benefit statement online rather than walking into the Social Security office and waiting for a long time in order to get it.
And then, why is so important to review your earnings? Your earnings record. You may think that probably you are a young person, I don't know, 20s, 30s, 40s, and you see, no, retirement is way in the future. But it's better for you to start reviewing your earnings record now. I'm going to tell you a case. This morning, I took 2 retirement claims. And in both cases, there was missing earnings for 1980. At this point, what can we do? Both answers were, I don't have any records for 1980. How can the person come 40 years later and say, oh, please, this is a mistake, I work in this year, I remember I work, I don't know if the company is still in business, and I want those earnings on my record. We can't. So that is one of the importance for you to review your earnings record on time, because what if it's something that you're missing a year from 2 or 3 years? It's probably that you may found those W-2s, or you may contact the company and say, hey, could you please give me a copy of my W-2, or check with IRS and say, hey, I remember I work, I report everything to you, what's going on? Or you will have the proof. So please, it doesn't matter how old you are, please create my SSA account. Start just looking at your earnings record. That's the base thing that you can do in my SSA. And then in the future, well, it depends your age, and if you are already on retirement benefit, well, in that case, you can do change of address, change of direct deposit, change of the phone number. You can, as John mentioned, request a replacement Medicare card. You can request all those benefit verification or proof of income that right now CIDA is requesting to assist with the heat and the light, or for any other purposes. The award letter that you need to request help with the bus card, or to renew your lease. So all those situations in which the agency that you are getting service for it will request for you to verify your income. So please open my SSA account, and you will avoid waiting times in the local offices.
It would be a really good idea also to, not only open up a MySSA account, but to really look at all the different things you can do online for services. You can file for your retirement case online. You could go to and use our, like Rocio said, benefit calculators that we have in order to compute your benefits. And you could basically try to figure out, okay, if I retire at, age 62 and 3 months, how much benefit would I be estimated to get, and compare that to if I were to wait to my full retirement at age, if you were born before in 1959 or before, it'd be sometime in age 66, or I were to retire at my full retirement age as age 67. If I was born after 1959, then you'll be able to make a comparison and decide, and make a decision as to, what would be the proper time for you to retire. Also, as Rocio was saying, that when you need to review your earnings record, because the amount that you're going to be receiving from either Social Security disability insurance benefits or Social Security retirement benefits is going to depend on how much you paid in FICA taxes over your lifetime. And even if you start receiving your retirement benefit or your disability benefit, and you do some work and pay FICA taxes, while you're getting benefits, and yes, you can, do that in some cases and still be able to get your check. Every 2 years or so, we'll go back and review how much FICA taxes that you paid, and potentially could increase your monthly check just by the work that you've done. So that's just to illustrate, when you're working and you're paying FICA taxes, the more FICA taxes that you pay could potentially give you an increase in the amount of money that you get when you get your Social Security check.
Thank you, John. Well, little by little, we were changing our subject from Social Security cards to retirement. So, as I mentioned before, full retirement age is little by little being increased until people born after 1960, which full retirement age is going to be at 67 years old. But remember that the earliest possible you can file for retirement benefit, if you choose to start receiving early retirement, is at 62 years old. So 62 years old is the earliest possible. If you are not going to work anymore, that's it. The benefit will be reduced, of course. You're not going to be receiving the same amount if you wait for your full retirement age. Now, This amount may increase if there is a cost of living increase, but that is up to the government decision, or if you keep working and these new earnings are one of the 35 highest in your work history. Now, I mentioned the cost of living increase or COLA. So good news for everybody, for all the recipients of Social Security benefits. The COLA amount is 1.6%. That means that your benefit will increase 1.6% for 2020. So most of you may already start receiving the COLA notices. As I mentioned before, each time there is a change on your record, you will get a notice, a letter in the mail. So those letters, what are saying is what is going to be your new benefit amount for 2020. It will show more likely that the benefit effective in December 2019. But what that means is that the benefit that is due for December, which is payable in January, how much you're going to receive in January. So this is just a small clarification because we are receiving in the offices a lot of people asking for, hey, I received the letter, but in the bank I just received the old amount. Oh, there is a mistake. When I'm going to receive the new amount? So keep in mind. Social Security benefits pays 1 month benefit the following month. So those letters that indicate your new benefit for December 2019 is the benefit that you are going to receive direct deposit or by mail in January 2020. So it's 1.6% increase for everybody. Also, the Medicare premiums are going to be increased. Then the base Medicare premiums for 2020 is $144.60. The SSI recipients are also going to receive the increase. The new amount that SSI may supplement the income is going to be $783 for individual and $1,175 per couple. And if you are receiving disability benefit, just keep in mind the SGA or substantial gainful amount that we always looking when you are working and receiving disability benefit is going to be increased to $1,260. I understand that is a lot of information, a lot of numbers that I just gave you. If you have any question, if I talk too fast, you can always go to socialsecurity.gov and all the information you will find in our website.
And if you can't get to a computer, you could call our 800 number at 1-800-772-1213. I say that again, 1-800-772-1213, and you can ask those questions and get clarification on these things as well.
Now, let's talk a little bit about Medicare. If you are about to turn 65 years old, or if you are 65 years old or older and you haven't enrolled for Medicare, please do so. Contact us. The earliest possible we can take an application for Medicare is 3 months before the person turns 65. That is called the initial enrollment period. Initial enrollment period for Medicare starts 3 months before the month the person turns 65 and will end 3 months after. We also have the general enrollment period, which is for any person who didn't enroll during the initial enrollment period, and that starts in January and in March. And talking about the Part B of Medicare, Part B will be effective in July of the year of enrollment. And there's also the third enrollment period, which is the special enrollment period. A special enrollment period is for the person who choose not to enroll on Part B because he or she is working and have health insurance because of hers or his employment, or because this person is married and has health insurance through the spouse employers. They can enroll on the special enrollment period, which is pretty much a couple of months before the person either stop working or the health insurance stop for any reason, and is up to 7 months after the employer or the health insurance stop, and they can choose at any time when they want to enroll to start the Part B of Medicare.
Now, keep in mind that Part A, the hospitalization part of Medicare, is free. So that comes automatically. You have to pay, as Rocio said, a premium of $144.60 a month in order to get the Part B benefit, which is the medical treatment, going to visit to your doctors, things like that. If you were to get a Part C, a Medicare Advantage plan, that is to cover the other 20% that Medicare doesn't pay for, because Medicare pays 80% of the cost the applicable cost, and so you would still have to pay the other 20% if you didn't have a Part C plan. And sometimes in some Part C plans, like with Blue Cross Blue Shield, Humana, those type of places, those organizations also try to help you with your prescription drugs as well. If you didn't have that, you can also get a separate prescription drug program through Part D of Medicare. So those are the optional ones that ultimately you would have to pay for, but remember the Part A, the hospitalization, is free. Now, most service providers that provide medical services for you and already are providing medical services for you, once you become eligible for Medicare, they want you to file for Medicare, because Medicare is always the first provider. It's going to be the first one that's billed for choice, and ultimately they pay 80% of the medical expenses that you have. So, and then they will only have to deal with the 20%. So keep that in mind. Medicare is normally the first provider that's billed, and it pays 80% of the hospitalization or the supplemental medical treatment that you might be getting.
So Part A covers hospitalizations, Part B covers doctor's visits, most of the outpatient services, most of the emergency room visits. To give an example, if you have an emergency you go to the emergency room, if it's something that you will be discharged within a couple of hours, more likely that visit will be covered under Part B of Medicare. Now, if you have a severe condition that you will be hospitalized and go to the stay for a few days in the hospital, then that emergency room visit will be covered through Part A of Medicare.
Now, also keep in mind that if your income is lower than $1,040 in the state of Illinois, which is the eligibility point where you're eligible for Medicaid in the state of Illinois, Medicaid and you're receiving Social Security and getting Medicare, Medicaid can pay for your Part B premium in the state of Illinois, and they probably will pay your Part B premium if they know that you're on Medicare, just to make sure that you keep your Part B benefit. Because remember, again, Medicare is always going to be billed first. So if you have low enough income, you can also be eligible for both Medicaid and for Medicare at the same time. And Medicaid will pay for your Part B premiums.
Exactly. So, in other words, if you are about to turn 65 or you are under 65, it's the same, and you're receiving Medicaid, please, once you turn 65, contact us to enroll on Medicare. Even that you have Medicaid, we will enroll you. And if you do it with enough time, you will have the necessary time to contact the public aid office, show the letter that you are already enrolled in Medicare, and start the process. The public aid office has several plans. I believe one of those plans is the QMB, or Qualified Medical Beneficiary. There's also the State Buy-in program. Keep in mind that I work in Social Security, not for public aid. But if I'm not mistaken, both programs, what does is that the state of Illinois will pay for those Medicare premiums, the Part B premiums. So instead of those amounts be deducted from your benefit, if you are already receiving Social Security benefit, or instead of being billed quarterly, the public aid office will make that payment for you. But you have to request the payment. Now, if you are not 65 and if you are not receiving SSI, you have to go to the public aid office and ask them to pay for you. The opposite, I mentioned SSI. If you are an SSI recipient and you are 65 years or older, you cannot do it before 65. You must be 65 years older and receiving SSI. Now, you could be receiving SSI and retirement benefit, or SSI and disability benefit, but be 65 years old. So in that case, you can contact us to see if you can be receiving the Medicare, and we will ask for you to the public aid office to see if you qualify, if they are going to pay for you. And of course, if they say yes, you will have Medicare, and you will have very much better coverage.
A very clear way really to understand this is if you're receiving a SSI benefit, a supplemental security income benefit, and that normally comes on the first of the month, you're automatically eligible to receive Medicaid in the state of Illinois with no spend downs. Now, but you still have to go to the public aid office and apply, but you have to also prove that you're receiving supplemental security income, either through, because of a disability, or because you're over the age of 65. But either way, if you're eligible for SSI in the state of Illinois, you're automatically eligible for Medicaid. Now, if you're not receiving supplemental security income, and that's what I meant when I said if you had income lower than $1,040, you could still be eligible for Medicaid because you have low enough income in order to be eligible for that program. And more than likely, if you're eligible for Social Security disability insurance, or you're eligible for retirement benefits, or if it's for disability, after 2 years from the date of onset of your disability, you'll be potentially eligible for Medicare. But at retirement, at 65, you're going to be eligible for Medicare as well. But if you have less than $1,040 in terms of income, you could potentially apply and go to the public aid office and apply for Medicaid, and then get your Medicaid card, and ultimately let them know that you're receiving Medicare, if you are receiving Medicare, so that they would take up and pay your Part B premium.
And another scenario, Medicare Part A is free for the person who have been working and earned already the 40 credits. If you have not worked or have not obtained those 40 credits, then you can still have Part A of Medicare, but you will have to pay out of your pocket. If you are 65 years old and you don't have the 40 credits yet, but you're working towards your 40 credits, contact us. Contact us and enroll on Part B only, because there's something that I believe I haven't mentioned. Why there are those 3 enrollment periods, why are so important? Because everybody must enroll on Part B at 65 years old. But if the person chooses not to and need it sooner or later in the future, for every year after 65 years old that the person was eligible and decided not to enroll in Part B, will be charged 10% penalty per year forever. So what happened? Everything happened today. This person came to the office, and she is 70 years old. She had 39 credit up to last year. So this year she was working. She got her missing credit. So she said she is entitled to now, because she files, she is entitled to Part A for free and Part B. But what she say? Oh no, I knew the 40 credit. I just complete the 40 credit. I didn't came before. But her Part B, it will cost like $246 per month. Remember, next year, 2020, Part B premiums is $144.60. This person are going to pay $246 per month because she did not enroll at 65. This is a tip. You're 65. You don't have the 40 credits. Come and enroll, because the premium amount, $144.60, is if you have or if you don't have the 40 credits. So why wait until you get the 40 credits? Just avoid the penalty. This person, unfortunately, she's working, so she is not under the 1,040, which means that to start, the Medicare will be, Part B will be effective in July of next year, and it's going to be $246 of her retirement benefits.
What catches people normally is when they become eligible for Medicare Part A, and then they get to choose whether they want to get Part B or not. And if they had, and a lot of times, they might have, like Rocio said, they might have a employer that's paying paying for the benefits they might get in Part B, and so they elect not to to pay the Part B premium. As long as they have that insurance, then they won't get penalized if they had to come back to Part B. If they were to lose that insurance, they should immediately come and apply for Part B, so that there wouldn't be a gap and there wouldn't be a penalty to have for having a period of non-coverage. So ultimately, you just got to make a decision whether you want Part B or not. And if you don't want Part B, then know that if you don't have any other type of medical insurance, you're going to end up paying a penalty if you come back and try to choose Part B again. But if you have another medical insurance, and you show proof that you have another medical insurance up until the point where you want to, get Part B, then you won't be penalized.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and another information, useful information. Keep in mind that since last year, Medicare is changing the Medicare cards. So if you still have that card that shows a Social Security number followed by the letter A, T, D, B, D1, B6, B9, or any other combination of letter and number, be informed that Medicare is changing those Medicare cards. And the reason why they're changing is because the old Medicare card has a Social Security number. A Social Security number that anyone could have access and start identity theft. So for that reason, for your own protection, Medicare, since last year, they start changing and sending new Medicare cards for everybody with an unique number, the Medicare benefit number. So if by this time you haven't received, you don't have the new Medicare card, please, you can contact Medicare, 1-800-Medicare. You can contact Social Security and request a new Medicare card. Or even better, if you already have signed up for My SSA, go into your My SSA account and request your Medicare card online. If not, this is a very good opportunity to do it. Register, create My SSA account, request it online, or ultimately contact Social Security and request a Medicare. But remember that card will take 6 to 8 weeks for you to receive it in the mail. Now, if you print your benefit verification and you request to include your Medicare information, you will found and you will have the Medicare number in your regular award letter.
Yep. Now, keep in mind that when you get this letter, I mean, when you get the new Medicare card, you should discard the old card and start using it immediately. And also keep in mind that we understand that a number of people have complained that the envelope that the Medicare card comes in kind of looks like junk mail, and it didn't, and so they didn't recognize it, and they could potentially have thrown it away. Just be careful when you're filing for a new Medicare card to watch for it also in the mail, just like we advised you to watch out for the Social Security card in the mail, and because that Medicare card. That Medicare number, that is no longer your Social Security number, but your Medicare number can also be used in order to try to take your identity too, at least in terms of your medical coverage, because that's what your doctors and and hospitals and counselors or whoever you use your Medicare card for will be using in order to bill. So ultimately, you need to make sure that you watch for that card. Make sure you get it, and once you do get that card, you discard the other card with the Social Security number because you no longer should be using it.
Yeah. So then we just talk a little bit about the SSI or Supplemental Security Income. SSI is a program based on need, income, and resources. Is mostly for people who has limited income. It could be disability SSI. It could be age SSI. Age SSI is for people 65 years or older. Now, SSI is not only for adult. SSI could also be payable for your children. Of course, in the case of the children, we will count the income that the parents have and the composition of the family. For an adult, we will look at what other potential entitlement eligibility this person may have and go for there. Sometimes when you contact Social Security Administration, in most cases we take two applications. One is Social Security Disability Benefit based on your work history, and the other one is the Supplemental Security Income Disability, SSIDI or SSDI. There is a lot of confusions. Sometimes a person may be not eligible for SSI just because has too much income. So then sometimes people receive the letters, oh no, your claim is denied, and you don't understand. So the difference is that the Social Security disability is based, we look at your work history, we look at your medical condition, and then the decision is made. With the Social Security, we are not going to ask you anything about any of your family members. Who do you live with? If you're married, if your spouse is working or not, or if you are young, about your parents. No, we are just going to look at your work history. The SSI is totally different. The SSI, yes, we are going to ask you for everything, and the SSI program will force you to file for any potential benefit that you may be able to receive.
Yeah,
Pensions or something else.
Now, keep in mind, then, as you said, SSI is a needs-based benefit, and it's a federally needs-based benefit. And so we're going to be looking at to see if you have what low enough income and low enough resources in order to be eligible for it. That's why we take into account, the number of people that is in the household. If you're under the age of 18, and take account your parents' income, or if you're over the age of 18, take into account your income and resources and your contribution to the household expenses. Because we're looking at ultimately what what it costs for you to obtain food, clothing, and shelter. In terms of resources, as of the first moment of every month, we're going to see if you have more than $2,000 in the bank or in any type of resources that you can cash in. If you do, have that, then you wouldn't be eligible for SSI. That's the bottom line of SSI. SSI is needs-based, and it's not based on you paying FICA taxes. If you get a check on the 3rd of the month or alternate Wednesday, like the second Wednesday or third Wednesday or fourth Wednesday of the month, then we're not going to care about whether, who you're living with and whether you're paying your share of the household expenses, because it's not based on need. It's based on you paying FICA taxes.
Yeah, and remember, the SSI will supplement your income up to $783 in 2020. So, well, John, thank you so much for everything. It looks like we are running out of time. What it means is that we'll not be able to continue here with you. But if you still need to conduct best business with us, just keep in mind our 1-800 number for Social Security, 1-800-772-1213. And on behalf of our hotline team, Rocio Roman, your guest, your host, and John Marshall, your guest, we wish you, each and every one of you, a very safe and pleasant evening. Good night, Chicago.
Good night.